That was Gypsy by Fleetwood Mac.
Thanks, Dad. We're going to get to our first segment here. It's going to be favorite college stories from each of our parents. We're going to go in reverse Mount Rushmore order. So, Kyle, we're going to kick it to you guys.
Yeah, so this is my mom, Laura, and here's her college story.
Thanks, guys. Great to be here. A great show. Well, my college story might resonate. So my college campus had something called the International House. It was the place you went to pursue your desire to study abroad. And in that house, there was a large sign outside denoting the house with the words International House in bright white letters on a blue sign. So at the same time of having this house on our campus, we were also big fans of the restaurant IHOP. Of course, that stands for the International House of Pancakes. And we thought late at night, those two concepts really should be married together. So that meant we felt the sign on campus needed a slight change. So late in the evening, we gathered up some white paint and a paintbrush or two. We marched to the International House and found the sign and decided to paint the words of pancakes below the words International House. The problem is, as we were doing our artwork, we failed to realize or notice that the campus police headquarters house was next door to the International House. Before we knew it, the campus police personnel doing the job they need to do were chasing a group of us. There were probably 10 of us. And thinking quick on my feet, I ran into the bushes. Thinking crouching into the bushes would keep me well hidden from those pursuing campus police. Unfortunately, they carry flashlights with them. And late in the night, they took their flashlight and shined it upon me, and the rest of us were rounded up and put into the campus police conference room. That led to the fact that we were reported to the judicial board of the university. I had a law school student representing me in that hearing, and I was therefore given a 1-semester social probation sentence. Really, the lesson here is check the surrounding area of any late-night paint projects.
Woo! Yeah, nice.
Yeah, I've heard that story many times. It's a classic. It's a classic. And then off to Cal.
Oh yeah, we're gonna be doing the next one. This is my dad, Mark, who introduced Strawberry Letter 23.
So yeah, this is not nearly that entertaining. I didn't realize we had criminals on the show with us. But,
whoa.
But back in 1993, this is just a story about music in college and why you should probably show up and go to see bands that may turn out to be something later. Back in 1993, we booked a small band from Charlottesville to play our Christmas party. You may know them as the Dave Matthews Band, and they were still on the college circuit at that point. And then they released the album Remember Two Things in November of 93. Well, it immediately blew up, and Dave was not that excited about playing a fraternity Christmas party and tried to back out. But we got in touch with their lawyer, and they said they signed a contract, and they went ahead and played it. But it was pretty cool to see a band that would later go on to be huge, playing a tiny room for a Christmas party. So my advice is show up, see bands. You never know who they'll turn out to be.
That's awesome. Nice. So next up, we got my dad, Justin.
Thanks, Cal, and thanks to the whole crew for inviting me on this morning. The title of my story is called The Nude Olympics. This may or may not resonate with you, but in my college, there was a tradition for sophomores, which was that at the first snowfall of every year, all the sophomores would congregate in a completely enclosed courtyard, stripped down to boots, hats, and gloves, and run through the campus as a group completely naked. And this was a long tradition, and it got taken to the extremes. In certain cases, the ROTC group would be seen rappelling out of windows. Others would have mopeds and motorcycles driving around naked. And as a sophomore, as the winter approached, you all had a sort of a sense of anxiety, but also excitement about the first snowfall. Especially for guys, when the weather gets cold, body parts change quite a bit. So it's not necessarily something that you really look forward to. And the other thing that's interesting is that you really never exactly know when that first snowfall is going to hit. So you're not sure exactly what to do or how to plan for it. So as it turns out, my parents were planning on coming to pick me up for a weekend at home, the early winter, late November. And so they got there on a Friday night. I had no idea it was supposed to snow that night. And so at around 8 o'clock that night, when they were pulling up to my dorm room and I was coming out, I was a little bit disappointed, but also excited that I might miss the Nude Olympics. But as we drove right down the center of campus, and I really had no idea that they were going to surprise me with my grandparents in the car with them, we got completely bum rushed by the entire parade of Nude Olympians. So imagine 300 to 400 naked people surrounding your car and pounding on your car with your grandparents on either side in the back. And I just put my head down and pretended like I didn't even exist. And the crowd passed by. And no one really knew what to say for the next hour in the ride. But that was my story of the Nude Olympics, and it's something my parents like to tell about my time at Princeton.
That was good. Great stories all around, actually.
Those are good.
Yeah.
They covered a lot of ground.
Yeah. So after a short break, we're gonna come back and listen to "Born to Run," followed by "Tempted" by Squeeze. That was "Born to Run" by Bruce Springsteen, and then "Tempted" by Squeeze. Someone gonna offer a little more insight to those songs is my dad, who's here on the show.
Well, thank you, Kyle. I appreciate that. And thanks, guys, for having all the parents in today. My name is Kent Bourne, longtime listener, first time in the booth, so super excited about that. Yeah, so Born to Run is when I was a freshman in college, I had some good friends who played that album all the time. It's off the album Born to Run. A lot of good songs on that Springsteen album, Jungle Land, She's the One, 10th Avenue Freeze Out. For any of you young people out there who haven't listened to it, it's a fantastic album, and in my opinion, Born to Run is the best song on that album. More interestingly, Tempted, Squeeze is a great band, another great band, if you've not listened to them. And the story behind that is my wife and I met in graduate school, and when we met, we were both dating other people, and we were very good friends, became better and better friends over time. And we were at an event one night, and driving home from the event, we were both sitting in the back seat, and the song Tempted came on, and we both turned and looked at each other, and still dating the other people, mind you, but that was sort of an indication that maybe we should be dating each other instead of the other people. And so that is a song that has always been near and dear to our heart.
Wow, that's really cool stories. So yeah, we did a switch with all of our parents. So fresh set of guests here, and we're gonna get into our Mount Rushmore. It's of 70s and 80s bands. I once again won the last Mount Rushmore.
Yeah,
Just hold that over our heads.
He won, guys.
Potatoes. So I'm gonna choose the order. I'm gonna stay with the same one. So it'd be me, Hayes, then Kyle, and we are not going to include the Beatles.
Yes.
Just
Even though "Let It Be" came out in 1970, still they weren't. They were more.
They were more
late 60s.
more popular.
Yeah.
60s,
Yeah.
okay. We ready?
Yeah.
Okay, here we go. Mom, do you want to say our first pick?
Sure.
Okay.
Hello and good morning, and thank you for having me and all of us on. This is really awesome. So obviously I've been listening about this Mount Rushmore, and there's been some conversation about, is it my favorite band, or is it one that I think will help Cal win and keep his streak alive? So we are going to choose Michael Jackson as our first selection.
Good pick.
Obviously not a band, but one of the most iconic and most popular. You did hear that right, popular.
Yeah.
Musicians and most talented of all time.
Yeah. You can't go wrong with.
Yeah,
Michael
no,
Jackson.
can't go wrong with that.
His catalog is huge.
Would you
Yeah.
guys have taken? You were to take.
I would have taken
Okay.
that,
I
for
was-
sure.
Yes, we would have.
Okay.
Yes.
Okay. Cool.
I knew Cal was going to take that.
Okay.
Next. Okay, I'm Claire. I'm Hayes's mom, and that leaves us with the Rolling Stones.
Good pick. Good
Yeah.
pick.
Very influential in rock and roll from then forward. So that's our pick.
You know, pretty popular band and Yeah.
Yeah.
And still going.
still going.
Yeah.
Really?
Really.
Wow.
Mick Jagger.
They're still alive, which is
They're
actually
still-
the most
yeah.
amazing
That is
part about
pretty
it, to be
impressive.
honest.
Jagger just had another child recently.
Oh my
actually.
Doesn't
That is-
sound the same.
That's
but-
truly
Oh
extraordinary.
gosh.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh man.
I just want to say our first. So we have 2 picks now, my dad and I. So you want to do our first pick?
Yes. So our first pick is going to be Queen,
Ooh, good pick.
who
Yeah, I was hoping-
you know kind of came back to prominence with the movie Bohemian Rhapsody. So that's a band we like a lot that will hopefully resonate with people today. And then the second pick, and very sorry to do this, Kim, but we're going to go with Fleetwood Mac as our second pick. That was on our list even before we had the discussion outside. So apologies, but we're really trying to win. I don't know if people know this, but Kyle has not won.
We all know. We
So
all know.
it's a little embarrassing back home, so we're trying to fix that.
Yes. and Queen, and going back to the popularity thing that
Queen
was-
still has
was
a lot of
mentioned.
influence today. I'd
Bohemian
say.
Rhapsody, the movie, for those who want to connect the dots there. Need a little help.
And the song. Is
Where
very
were we?
popular.
We were somewhere like yesterday eating food, and we both just started singing
Yeah, we
that
just
song
started
word
singing
for
it.
word.
yeah.
yeah.
I don't think I was there, but
Okay.
that sounds nice. All right, back to Hayes.
All right. What do you want to do? This one? Okay.
All right, our second pick is going to be Led Zeppelin.
We got it. Good pick, though. Good pick.
Cal's happy with your pick, obviously.
You know, very very influential for rock.
And very,
Yes,
yes,
for
listened
sure.
to it a ton in high school and
Mhm.
actually during college as well. Shout out
Yeah.
to Fran from always reminds me of some Zeppelin.
Nice. Really good pick.
Mhm.
Okay. So you want to go with the top one?
Sure.
Okay.
Sure. So our next pick is Billy Joel, who also spans quite a long time period in terms of his music, singer-songwriter, and has quite a few hits that I think most people can recognize and do recognize.
Mm-hmm. And what do you want to do for next one?
Oh, he's leaving it up to me. Well, some of
Yeah.
my favorites have already been picked. As you heard, Fleetwood Mac is certainly, I think, my favorite band of all time. But I'm going to go off script a little bit. Hopefully, Cal will support this.
Oh, I think I know.
And I'm going to pick U2.
Okay. Good one. I support
And
I
that.
didn't
again,
think about that one.
I know that's, I'm not sure about the popularity piece, but U2 was really huge coming into the 80s and actually spanned into the 90s, and still, again, around today, alive and well. And I think, again, very influential in terms of rock and music.
Yeah,
For sure.
for sure. Okay.
I think. What do you think?
There are so many bands, by the way.
Yeah.
We're
This
looking
is
at our
a
list,
really
and there's
big,
just so many.
It's hard to
Yeah.
decide here. What do you think?
You go with that one. I think that's good.
Okay, we're gonna go with Prince as the next
Oh.
one.
Yep.
Maybe not as
What?
popular as some of the other ones, but very influential and
Very
some
influential.
very good songs.
Yes, fantastic musician. Purple Rain was fantastic in the 80s.
Yeah.
And he just kept going from there. Unfortunately, his life was a little shortened. Not with us anymore.
All right.
Okay, Kyle.
All right, well, yeah, you want to say our next pick?
All right. Hopefully, I say the ones that we just agreed on.
Yeah,
but
we-
the first
Fucking
one, the
silence.
first one is going to be Simon and Garfunkel.
Oh,
Good pick.
Which-
And
about
we
them.
and I assume based on other Rushmores that I've heard, we get Paul Simon as well for his solo stuff out of that. Correct?
I think he's
That covers
yeah.
kind of
Under the
the
umbrella.
whole
Under the
thing.
umbrella.
Okay.
Maybe.
Everyone's
maybe.
looking at me like I
I
make
don't
the
know.
rules. Sure. Yeah. Sure. Yeah.
well,
Yeah.
well, and listen, with Simon and Garfunkel, like the most prominent, I'd say, folk rock band of all time, and just so many great albums like Bookends. That's probably my favorite one. But
Yeah.
yeah. So then for our next pick,
Why don't you give our next pick, son?
yeah,
Because
I
I'm
don't
not
think
sure
we know
what
our
you.
next pick.
Bring it
is.
home, Kyle.
No pressure, Kyle.
Yeah, you're almost there.
Oh, I can't figure it out.
That one. Oh.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No?
Okay.
Okay.
You know more about more about
We'll go with Tom Petty and the Heartbreakers for our last pick, which might be one that falls more in the category of bands that I really like that might not resonate, but just a
pierogi
huge, a great. No,
It's the
that's not.
pierogi
It's not
music.
quite. It's not quite like pierogi. I don't think. Just a great body of work, and American Girl is one of my top 5 songs of all time.
Yeah.
yeah.
A little tidbit on Simon and Garfunkel. They're also really popular because that first line of that song, "Sounds of Darkness," is like really popular.
Sounds of Silence?
Yeah, sorry.
Wow.
Really
That's
popular
a
in
lot.
like meme culture
True.
for many years.
Yeah. Hello,
So
Darkness.
The
one of-
Graduate.
Also, yeah. I was gonna
I'm
say,
sure
like,
Simon and Garfunkel are so proud of that. That's what's happened to their
Yeah.
song.
that, yeah,
They've been
it's
As long as it
reduced.
keeps them
depression
relevant, I guess.
theme. Yeah.
Yeah.
And then The Graduate. They did so many different versions of Sound of Silence on that, like acoustic, electric, adapted. They have so many versions on that soundtrack.
What do you think?
To follow in that vein, I think of bands that I really like and were influential, and this one actually maybe is even more so for my husband. But being from Atlanta, Georgia, we're going to choose REM, who's
Yeah.
from Athens.
That was on our list.
Yeah. Great. I don't know. Great band. Tons and tons of great albums. They continued on into the 80s. Automatic for the People was later into the 90s, but a great band for the 80s.
Do you have a favorite REM song?
I love Murmur, that album, so I like all those.
Yeah, I've
initial
heard that
words.
album a lot.
Yes.
Yeah,
So
well,
anything off of that album.
well, Cal, you were talking about like how our parents influenced our music interests. I
Right.
think that kind of goes with it, just like the albums playing
Yeah.
when we were younger.
for
Definitely.
sure. Yeah. Okay, last pick of the whole draft. We sped through this draft,
we're
guys. we
we're gonna talk. We're just gonna ad lib a bit. Yeah.
well, also we have honorable mentions too.
Of
Yeah.
course.
we do.
Okay, so Mom, I like our list, so up to you what you want to pick here.
Okay, so I'm gonna selfishly pick this last selection in that it's one of my favorites. I hopefully that others will agree is Elton John.
Yes.
had that
I was
on
kind
our
of
as
hoping
Cal,
you picked
Cal
that.
and I are huge Elton John fans.
Yeah.
There's very few Elton John songs I can think of that we don't like to listen to, and
Yeah.
similar to Billy Joel, I feel like you can listen to it over and over and over again and not get tired of it or him. So I'm gonna go with that selection. Although there are some other great bands, but he's again classic and one of the best ever.
Yeah. Not to
Alright.
Good choice.
Yeah. So
we
now
almost
we're
got
gonna put it on the Instagram.
Yeah.
We'll put this
Mention.
poll on the
It'd be
Instagram.
very interesting to see like people from our generation
Right.
voting on these
Right.
bands.
Yeah.
For sure.
Petty.
Well, and
If I could just add, if you're not familiar with these bands, just vote for Kyle. Just vote for Kyle this week. That'd be great.
Yeah, I'm feeling
For
badly
everybody.
for Kyle. So you
Yeah.
know the Tortolani
Okay.
Simons
Yeah, the
family, you
pity
can vote
win,
for
the
Kyle
pity
too.
win.
I think Kyle might be
Well,
okay with
we
that.
also
Maybe
had
not.
a really funny scenario last week when we put it up on the Instagram, asked people to vote. We had some people not understand the concept, and they
Yes.
DM'd us just names.
Just names.
So
of
Anne
people.
on Anne,
Oh.
she DM'd us my name. So thanks for the vote, and then
And then
Kyle, your mom, right?
my mom just DM'd Kyle. I don't know if she saw all of my picks, but she was my supporter.
I
Yeah.
know she loved the
That's good.
pierogi pick.
She liked that
She's-
pierogi pick was
yeah,
for
she's
her.
a
pierogi.
little Polish.
If she
so.
didn't,
Oh,
if she didn't pick
gratin.
that,
Really good time.
yeah.
well, you guys don't know what you're missing with Gatan. So
we had it for dinner that night.
yeah, we did, and it was
no
good.
way.
That was you wanna.
It was we
was
had it
very
in
fun.
Frank, and it was very delicious.
Siri was listening.
Yeah, that's right.
It's true.
Yeah.
That's amazing.
Do you want to do honorable mentions?
Sure.
Yeah,
well,
I
I
think we
would like
should.
to say, Cal, I'm surprised that you guys didn't pick James Taylor.
Oh,
I know
Yeah.
that might not reminisce with our generation and our voters, but I
Yeah.
thought. I
Yeah,
really
we
thought,
are James Taylor fans, but I don't think quite at the same level as our choices. I feel like
yeah.
our choices, well, also we were a little bit more slanted towards who we thought would win.
Right.
Yeah.
You know, we are a competitive bunch in the Tortolani family, so
Yeah.
we had to sacrifice our own personal choices, I think, a little bit. But yeah, James Taylor, you have to have a certain, you want to be depressed and
Fire and rain.
Yeah, exactly. I mean,
yeah.
you know,
If you listen to Our Town while you're driving through upstate New York, yeah.
Yeah.
You need to pull over. The tears streaming down your face.
Also, How Sweet It Is by James Taylor is just so off-brand for him. I feel like that's I don't know,
Is
that
it
just popped
sappy?
in my head. Yeah. Like he talks about such sad things.
Yeah.
We had some honorable mentions: the Allman Brothers, Pink Floyd,
Ooh,
Yeah.
yeah, we had that.
Guns N' Roses. Yeah.
oh, that's for Justin.
Oh,
Shout out for
yeah.
Justin, Guns N'
Yeah.
Roses.
Good band. So a huge band from the 70s, 60s into the 70s. I know it wasn't a 60s category, but into the 70s that didn't even make honorable mention yet is The Who.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Although that when we were talking, we weren't sure that the younger generation would really, they'd be like, who? Right.
That one
That's
was
sort
good.
of like
Dad.
who's on first. That was good. I didn't that just came to me. Anyway.
Impromptu humor.
We would also add, I think, from our and Doobie Brothers
Yep.
to probably slide in there.
Supertramp.
Eagles, Supertramp. Those are three other
The
bands
Eagles.
we
Yeah,
listen
just
to
We
a
had
fair
the
amount. The
Eagles, yeah.
Eagles is pretty classic and
Yep.
pretty easy to listen to across generations, I think.
Yeah. I'd say Hotel California is probably one of the most like widely known
Right, yeah,
classic rock
Yeah,
songs.
for sure.
Great
For
song.
sure.
Definitely.
Um,
We also had Crosby, Stills, Nash and Young.
Yep.
Yeah, that was don't know how many people know about them. But.
Yeah. And I guess you get Neil Young with that.
I mean, if you get
If you're
everybody
choosing that
in that,
iteration.
Yeah.
If you
of
get David Crosby, yeah.
Stills, yeah,
Yep.
Nash.
you get a lot. The Bee Gees as well.
Oh, yeah.
I
Overseas.
thought, yeah.
wow, there's so many good bands.
There are
There's
so
so
many.
many.
Well, now we know why this radio show exists.
Yeah.
I mean,
Yeah.
it's endless. You all can fill this for 4 years
Yeah.
pretty easily, you know? It's
Yeah.
just, it is classic.
Yeah.
The Clash
Yep.
as well.
We also
Yeah,
had
the Clash on ours.
we had Phil Collins,
Oh, Genesis and Phil
Genesis.
Collins.
Yeah.
Madonna, which I don't really know her music, but I just know she's like an icon, and then Journey and Van Halen. That was the rest
Yeah,
of it.
All
Yeah.
good.
We had those
And
two.
All
we
good.
have David Bowie and Talking Heads.
Oh.
David
Good.
David Bowie.
Love David
Yeah.
Bowie. Yeah.
Good
Yeah.
stuff.
So the other thing that you all probably can't remember or speak to, but the older generation that's here is the creation and evolution of MTV, which was when this music went from, just being listened to on the radio to watching videos that are, if you watch them now, they're actually pretty hilarious and there's not much to them. But when you say things like, Talking Heads, that was one of the original videos on MTV that everybody just thought was the most amazing thing ever.
How about Michael Jackson's Thriller?
Oh, yeah.
I mean,
Yeah.
you
That was the
would-
first
it
great
would-
video.
Those were
they
the
would
first
tell
great
you
videos, right?
when
Yeah.
it was coming
Yep.
on, and that is what you would do at 8 p.m. on Friday night.
Yes.
Right.
Yeah.
Tune
Yeah.
into MTV
Crazy.
so you could see Thriller.
Yeah.
And that really, I feel like MTV really opened up a lot for like grunge rock too. Because especially, obviously, Nirvana was like they won so many MTV awards at the Grammys because they had like music video awards that kind of went hand in hand with the whole MTV program, which I thought was interesting. Just like how many bands kind of utilized the visual aspect that was added onto music at that time.
Yeah,
REM,
sure.
I feel like, had a lot of those too
Yeah.
Yeah.
as
They
they got
did.
into the 90s.
Yeah. Okay.
All right. Well,
We're gonna send it into a break,
yeah.
Yeah.
Let's do it.
and then we have Mona Lisa and the Mad Hatters after the break.
All right.